Welcome back. Seeing where the imagination can take us. That's what author Barbara Alt's newest child book, Dreamland, is looking to cover. To tell us about the book and the inspirations behind it, we are joined by Barbara Alt herself. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We were talking a little bit in the commercial break about the book Dreamland. Give us a bit of a synopsis. It's some stories based on truth and some imaginative.
A little bit of both, yes. So Dreamland is a collection of short stories in a children's illustrated chapter book, which was inspired by a game I used to play in my yard growing up in Butte, Montana. And the kids, my friends, and I would spin around in the yard till we got dizzy, fall on the ground, wake up in dreamland. And then our imaginations would just take us on some kind of adventure. So each chapter is just a little bit different twist on what the kids do. So for example, I'll show you some of the props. The first chapter is called Wagon Train. Okay. And this is a prop from Wagon Train. It's a dream catcher.
Okay.
And Wagon Train was a game we used to play on the porch based on the old TV show. And so it was about an adventure of coming across the country on a wagon train. And this dream catcher was inspired by something that somebody sent me, actually, and it was in addition to the book. Another one is the little A&W root beer mugs. In the chapter Imaginary Friend, the main character, Victoria, and her friend go on an adventure to A&W, and they do all kinds of fun things together. This little mailbox here had its adventures of its own. The characters buried a mailbox in the ground halfway between their house and then went back and forth to communicate with each other, and then the mailbox took off on all kinds of crazy little adventures. This was a vase made out of a branch from the weeping birch tree in our yard.
Cool. Okay.
And so there's a chapter called Weeping Birch, which is somewhat philosophical. The children are wondering, what makes the weeping birch weep? Okay. And this vase was made by the father of my illustrator, who we'll talk about in a minute, who grew up in the same house I did. So it's things like that.
And this book is a little bit different than your earlier works in terms of the illustrations. How are they different?
Yes, my first children's picture books, they were beginner reader picture books. There was a series of 3 that I actually promoted on this show back in 2021. And they were illustrated with actual photographs. And I was able to do all that myself with graphic design and photographs. This book was illustrated with actual drawings, and then she put graphics to it and was able to add color and change expressions and things like that. So each page of this book has an illustration to go with it, so it's a little different.
And how have you marketed the book so far, and what has been the response?
Well, I've had 2 launch parties so far. One of them was in the town of Butte, Montana, where the stories were inspired and based, where I grew up, and we had it at a carousel, which was really fun because one of the chapters is called Columbia Gardens, and it was an amusement park that was a magical, magical place for kids that grew up in that era. And so it was really fun to have that there. I had a second one here in Albuquerque, in which I was able to have a lot of my friends who are musicians and dancers. And so, for example, the chapter Showtime talks about talent show in the yard that was held. And when we talked about the girl who sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, one of my friends came out and sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and we had a harmonica player and a sword dancer.
Interactive.
Yeah, and it was really fun, really well received. People said, I've never been to anything like this before.
Yeah, really cute. Where can viewers go for more information if they're interested in picking up the book?
Well, it's available on Amazon.com if you just search on Dreamland and my name, Barbara Alt, or it's also in Organic Books down in Nob Hill. It's in several of the public library branches here in town. Other local bookstores can order it if you went in and asked for it. They don't stock it on their shelves. And then I have a website that it's also, you can see previews and see the rest of my portfolio, and you can purchase the book on the website. It's bar-blyn.net.
Okay, great. Barbara, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.